What's up, Hoopers? Some Lakers breaking news. Russell Westbrook is working on that Jimmy. He's got it nice and tight. He's got a quicker release. We're going to break it down, and we're also going to bring up some other players who tried changing their shot and just how good or how bad it was. We're going to bring out the shot charts. We are really going to do a deep dive on this new shot. Now, the Lakers' biggest frustration last year was, no defense, couldn't shoot, didn't get along, hated each other. It was just an atrocious season. But there are ways that can be fixed, and it's going to be a buy-in from all players. But shooting has to increase. If Mr. Westbrook can knock down some threes, if he can get that side jumper off the glass back, this is something that will absolutely spark the Lakers. But man, oh man, I got to break down the real news of this shot. I don't think it's going to work. And there's a lot of evidence in the past of him changing his shot where it went bad. So we're going to do everything we can to see if this new Jimmy that Westbrook has will work. I am your NBA white guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. And if you like that type of content, make sure you are dunking that like button and you subscribe so you never miss a thing. Now, this is last season. This is your boy Brody. He shot, 1,233 shots, and he was about 29% from three. So when you look at his career average, he's had some percentages up of the 35 to 36%, and he was actually shooting on average about 7 threes that year. That was with his last season in OKC. So he has shot it a lot better. He got killed last year because of his shooting. But I want to break down this chart, and then we're going to look at the differences of this shot and if it's going to work. And then I'm going to break down the mental, the psyche from a hooper's perspective. So the first thing that I want to show with this shot chart, this is last season. There's some real troublesome areas. But if we look at the video of him shooting and practicing, it was in the corner and it was right here. 50% shooting last season. Now, this is also where he shot it from the corner against the Minnesota Timberwolves when he airballed completely. And you remember Karl Anthony Towns, and you remember Patrick Beverley ducking and making a giant scene out of it. But the dude respectably shot 50% from this corner, so it is nice to see him working on that corner shot with a swing pass, catch and shoot in rhythm. But I want to bring up the rest of the shot chart here, because if he is going to be playing his role, his style of basketball, that means that he has the ball and that he is dribble, driving, penetrating. Now, there's a new system, 4 out, 1 in, where there will be a little bit different than the horn, system they ran last year, which was just atrocious. Basically, it was LeBron James dribbling around and everybody standing still. So at least there will be more movement, but here's the big problem I see with Westbrook. The straightaway shooting for him is atrocious, 20+%. That is it. Now, the other thing, when you're a point guard, what are they so good at? Getting to the middle, floaters, jump shots. If you look at this, 29%, 30%. This is his little corner shot right here off the glass, 30%, and even only 53% finishing here. So he was missing wide open shots. It wasn't just a three-point shot where he was off last season. He really was just out of rhythm. And again, I'm going to talk about this here in a little bit. You're not going to want to miss it, of what I saw in his mind going wrong. This corner over here, and basically anywhere, it was not that good of shooting. Now, I do want to talk about one thing real quick, is you got Russell Westbrook here. I want to look at one of the other rising stars that I think the Lakers have, and I talk about a lot. We got to go back to 2020, though, because that's when he played. And if we look at this shot chart, he was shooting almost 30, or a little over 38% from the three-point line. So this is something, when you look at this shot chart, straightaway shooting like a point guard should be, he is a knockdown shooter. When he gets into the paint, 62%. So these are all the areas where, Russell Westbrook is 20, 25, 30%. This means this point guard, especially in a 4 out 1 in, when you have a dunker, it doesn't have to be a big man. You can start the little guys down low, whatever. He's going to get into the paint, dribble, drive, and finish. And if he's up top, this is where he can knock down some shots. It's a huge difference. And again, it's all confidence, because if you go to a spot where you're more likely to make it, you're not thinking about making the shot. You're just thinking about shooting it, right? But if you are in a spot where you know you've missed a lot of shots recently, then your mechanics are in, you're trying to overthink the shot, that's what exactly happened to Russell Westbrook last season. You saw him absolutely try to get in this absolute perfect form and release that thing, and it was just broke. That's why he was launching it everywhere. He's a catch and shoot in rhythm style shooter. Now let's get back to his film. But before we do that, I do want to give you a little bit of insight from a hooper's perspective. And again, if you're loving all of the stats and all of this extra type of material I'm bringing to my content, please do me a favor and dunk that like button. So Westbrook's biggest fault last year was not that he was just a terrible shooter all of a sudden. If you look at career statistics, he's never been that great of a shooter, but he's been a walking bucket. He's been able to average triple doubles, and even last season, he went almost 19, 7, and 7. But the turnovers are an absolute killer, and when you turn the ball over at an accelerated rate, it can affect you negatively on the other end because mentally you're trying to always make up for that mistake. When you make a massive mistake and you're making sure you're not getting pulled out of the game by the coach, and then you're trying to do better, then it starts going to your head. The biggest thing that happened last year to Westbrook, he tried changing his shot in the offseason last year. But when we go back and look at that massive air ball, all right, so here is that play last season that I want to just bring back up and show you. And it's not to just embarrass Westbrook. The dude's an incredible basketball player, has a great career, but this is just something that I noticed because he changed his shot 2 seasons ago. And then when push comes to shove, when you're not feeling as hot, this is actually a corner that he's in and shoots at 50%. But you can see his old catch and shoot, and he really holds that arm up there. That tells me he's not confident in his shot. That tells me that he's really trying to get mechanical and he's overthinking things. If you watch this, again, okay, here's the other biggest mistake I see with this shot, and I see it all the time with younger kids. I actually had this problem for a long time too, and he's a very athletic guy who jumps really high. That was my thing. I could jump high, and the one big mistake that we all make, we hold the ball too long. If you notice, he gets it in rhythm. It's actually a pretty shot, but he's shooting it on his way down, and he went back to his old style shooting, but he's holding all those mechanics because it's in his freaking dome right here. So watch this again. He's going to hold it for an extended period of time. He's going to hold it and shoot on his way down. Hold long. And this embarrassment. Look at Cat. Watch Petra Beverly. Oh my goodness. And now these two have to be teammates. It's just been a long time of, not getting along. But that's the psychology behind shooting. I'm going to get right back to the film and a few more statistics that you're not going to want to miss. I just, unfortunately, at this point, watching players at the end of their careers try and really change a shot, that's not going to happen. If you change your game, like MJ, he lost a lot of his mobility and his jumping, so he had to go to that turnaround jumper. But he still kept his mechanics the same. When you're changing mechanics, it's just like when you go golfing and you're out at the driving range and everything is perfectly straight and you tweak your hands a certain way, but you go out there with your buddies and the first one, you just stripe it out into the trees, and the rest of the game, you just can't find it. That's what happens when players actually try to tweak their shots with mechanics instead of maybe getting your feet a different spot. But he's completely changing his shot. Now, again, I'm going to show you one huge flaw that I see in this new shot. And I also believe that he's going to go right back to his old way of doing things as soon as he misses a few. But first, I got some LeBron footage I want to show you of when Mr. King James changed his shot. So here's your boy LeBron, and if you look in 2016, his free throw changed. See how he stepped back, stepped forward? He was very mechanical. It was awkward. I remember that entire season watching him going, oh, it's not good. He would bring his arms up real quick and pause, and then it was all wrist. He was out of rhythm. And in big clutch games like this is usually what we saw. Pissed off. And the other thing I noticed, if I go back, look at where he ends up. Leaning forward, right? He was not confident with that shot. I'm going to show you some NBA players that will really make this point valid. Now, that's the one thing about hooping that you may not understand. You look at a guy, he's changing his shot. You look at a shooting percentage. It's all here, people. When it comes down to crunch time, When your mechanics are off and when you're thinking about mechanics more than anything, you're going to miss a ton of shots. So I know Westbrook is changing a shot. He did this 2 seasons ago. I will show you how he went right back to his old habits, because I've done this and every hooper's done this. In the summertime, nobody guarding you. You can find this rhythm and it is just wet. It's pure all day. But as soon as you start missing a few, you really start thinking about mechanics. You're not thinking about anything else except for getting right, and you start missing a lot. That's why true blue hoopers, they don't change their shot, just like this guy, who the Lakers are rumored getting.
Like, you're currently playing, how often do you change your free throw routine?
Never. I never change it. I've you know, in practicing, you know, all that stuff is so engraved in what I do, and I'm sure Paul can speak to that too. It's just part of what you do when you go to the free throw line. If you don't do that routine, I feel like I'm definitely going to miss that shot.
So, Mr. Conley, who the Lakers are thinking about getting, which Lakers free throw shooting was atrocious last year, he is a career 90+% free throw shooter. He doesn't change anything. Real shooters don't change. It's all about making shots, no matter if it's the beginning of the game or the end of the game. And if they do miss them, it's rare, right? That's the big difference. Now, he says, I'm sure you know the same thing, Paul. He's talking to Paul George, who is an iconic shooter, especially jump shooter. And he says, no, I used to tweak mine too. So the big thing about tweaking your shot, I did this my entire career. In fact, my entire college career, I had a different shot than I did in high school. In high school, I was a very good free throw shooter, 80+% all throughout my high school career. I got way stronger. So in the summer of, after my senior year going into college, I worked out every day. I was way stronger. I started shooting a free throw where I wouldn't go down and crouch and come up in motion, in rhythm. I would hold that ball and barely bend my legs at all and just use my arms. And when I was practicing it all summer, wet. I could not miss. And I was like, dude, I'm going to go up into the upper 80s, low 90s now. But what happened was, in the college games, when I would get fouled and the pressure's on and I got more anxiety in me, or I'm dog tired and I just relied on that hand motion, I missed free throws. And then it started getting in my head. And then I'm trying to really change it during the game. I'm changing hands, and it throws you off. Hoopers understand this. So when I watch a Westbrook change his shot, it's always going to be changing, and he's going to go back to his natural shooting ability in a game to try and find it. And when you do that, you miss a lot of shots. Now, just to prove that, let's hear Mr. Paul Pierce.
I've changed my routine year to year too, because this is the thing. When you're not an 85 to 90, see, Mike, he's a 90% free throw shooter. He doesn't have to change anything. Right. I've ranged between 77 and 85 throughout my career. So sometimes in the middle of the game, it was about trying to find that rhythm. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing something wrong? When you miss one free throw or two free throws, when you get there a lot, like LeBron James does. I used to get to the free throw line a lot. I go 7 for 10. I'm not happy with that. So I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So you go to practice, you try different things.
Guys, I try and do something totally different than any YouTube creator out there when it comes to NBA. I talk about the Hooper's perspective. So make sure, if you're loving these videos, to dunk that like button. Now, we need to go back and look at what I saw on film. So if we actually go to the Westbrook film and we watch him, there's a few things that you notice. He's got his elbow in. It's very smooth. But there's a massive problem. If you look at where he's releasing that ball, right in front of his face, he's not going up high with it. So he's already only 6'3", 6'4". This is something where he's catching it in rhythm. That's a corner where he shoots 50%. I really like that he is working on this shot, but I wouldn't really be trying to tweak elbows and having different releases, because when you start missing it, that's like Paul Pierce said, you're going to go and you're going to start tweaking it mid-game and you're going to be broke. So you got to shoot the way you shoot. You're a very athletic dude who shoots at the very top of your jumper. And the problem is, if you're not doing that, you're shooting on the way down. You can have terrible misses. Shots. Every NBA player shoots differently. It's more about shooting the way that you are comfortable and the way you came up shooting it than anything. And actually, to be brutally honest, what happens to a lot of guys with broke shots is, at a younger age, they shoot from too far out and they have a push mechanism. They push it more than they shoot up, and that's what makes them miss a lot too. But I'm going to show you one other thing why Westbrook was shooting poorly. It is the most important thing. It's not a statistic. It's not the way he holds his arm. It's not the way that he shoots on the way down. It's this. They go to the bench. Not one person's talking. They're all disgusted. Westbrook's kind of like, yeah, that was bad. Look at me, Dwight Howard. Ain't nobody saying a word. You guys have been following me long enough. A lot of shooting, a lot of success that NBA teams have, or any team, collegiately, high school. It comes down to chemistry. They go to the bench right there. It's not like, Westbrook, you're good, dude. I've airballed a lot of shots. You're going to make the next one. It's just like, oh my God, get this season over with. They can't stand each other. This is the unbreakable, the unfixable chemistry that I keep talking about. Can it come back? It's got to be major buy-in from LeBron James, from Anthony Davis. They got to go right to Westbrook and say, yo, you're our freaking dude. I don't care if you miss. Go get us a steal. Go get that ball back. Go dunk it. We got your back. That is what will make his shot better. I'm telling you this right now from a hooper's perspective. It boils down to your leader, your team lead, making sure that he's got your back and also showing the effort on both ends of the court. I am your NBA white guy. If you're loving these videos, again, dunk that like button. I really want to get as many likes as possible. That's what makes me want to shoot more videos. And if you haven't yet, tap that subscribe button so that you never miss a video. And until my next one, homies, we'll catch you later.